My name is Connor Osborn. I am the Executive Director of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for coming out to this lovely morning. It's much better than it was last year for those of you that attended and trucked through the foot of snow last year. I was very excited heading into this year's event because this year we have the privilege of hearing from Sara Bowman and Vicki Barnett, our two newly elected mayors of Farmington and Farmington Hills. And thank you. And while he may not be brand new, we will have the honor of hearing from the Farmington Public Schools District's newly appointed Superintendent, Dr. Robert Herrera, who joined us back in July of 2019. We also have the pleasure of hearing from ANNETTE COMPO from Keller Williams, who will be giving us an update on the real estate market in our communities. I would like to briefly thank all of today's sponsors for making an event such as this possible. If you're attending on behalf of your company, please stand. Please hold your applause until I have read all the names. Our premier sponsor, Beaumont Health, Comcast Business, Lake Michigan Credit Union, Raymond, Paulson's Audio and Video, Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, and Community Choice Credit Union. Thank you for being our sponsors of today's event. I would also like to thank our Chamber's Board of Directors. Again, please stand if your name is called. Hold all applause until the end. Dwayne Reynolds, our Chairman from Wright Beamer. ANNETTE COMPO, our past president from Keller Williams. Gino Grabinski, our Vice President from the Print House. Jan Sherman, our Vice President from Benefits Edge. Matt and Jessica Howell, our Treasurers from Howell and Associates. Emily Karlichek, our Secretary from Paulson's Audio and Video. Vicki Barnett, the Mayor of Farmington Hills. Joe LaRussa, Councilman from City of Farmington. Andrew Buck from Loan Depot, also our Farmington Area JC's liaison. Lee Bird from Charter Spectrum. Dr. Robert Herrera from the Farmington Public Schools. Ken Massey, Councilman of Farmington Hills. Bethany Parrish from Beaumont Health. Priya Plale from Ignition Point Workshops. Robert Spann from Oakland Community College, and Dragon Tosick from Z Painting. Thank you for being our Board of Directors. I'd like to say thank you to all the volunteers and supporters who helped make events such as this possible. Those that were checking you in this morning, they did a lot of work helping me with this, so thank you to them as well. At this point, I would like to invite Vice President of Operations of Beaumont Health, Kevin Price, to come up and speak.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm Kevin Price, the Vice President of Operations at Beaumont Hospital, Farmington Hills. And just want to thank everyone for participating in this program this morning. I'd like to thank the Chamber for the opportunity to be here today at the State of the Cities to talk to you about some great things happening at Beaumont Health and at Farmington Hills as well. I've been at Beaumont Farmington Hills for a little over 3 years. However, I have had a connection with the community for much longer than that. My father had a business here in Farmington Hills for a little over 25 years, and he was also one of the volunteer firemen for a number of years, working side by side with our former District Fire Chief Bob Rebtoy, for those who remember Bob. So I was, when I was younger, I used to watch him take off whenever that alarm went off to help in whatever was needed in the community. Beaumont is really proud to be a partner in our communities that we serve with much needed resources to really help our patients and families throughout Farmington Hills, and the greater area. One of the most exciting things happening on our campus, for those of you who have been there and have seen the construction going on, we've had a major construction project, a $150 million project that was kicked off in 2016, and we had a grand opening last spring for our facility, and we have some ongoing renovations that are continuing to just continue to improve the services that we have there and update our facility. Some of these new services and areas include our emergency and level 2 trauma center. a new critical care unit, a new surgical services suite, as well as a south tower that has some additional private patient rooms for our patients and their families, along with a brand new hospital lobby and entrance. All those improvements have really made a difference for us, for our community. We continue to focus on our patient and family-centered care and our commitment to bring the best possible health care to the community here. When it comes to being a part of the community, we have over 2,000 employees, and about 900 of those employees actually live and are residents within Farmington and Farmington Hills. Last year, we also introduced the new and exciting Beaumont Healthy Communities for Farmington and Farmington Hills. And as we know that this community is a great place to live in, we continue to work with those in the community leaders, to continue to aspire to improve the overall health of our community and their families, neighbors. And we want to continue to make sure that everyone lives a long, healthy, and happy life in this community, active life, and that's part of our programs that we're involved in. In closing, on behalf of Beaumont Health, I'd like to thank the Greater Farmington Area Chamber and Mayor Barnett, Mayor Bowman, for their continuing support. And we appreciate the opportunity and responsibility to provide the best care for our community, our patients and families that live in the area. Thank you for the privilege to speak to all of you today and to help have a wonderful event ahead here and a great day. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. We are honored to have you and Bowman Health here with us today and as such a critical part of our wonderful communities. Next, I would like to invite ANNETTE COMPO from ANNETTE COMPO home team Keller Williams up to provide us with an update on the local real estate market.
Good morning. It's always great to look across the room and see so many friendly faces. It's almost like coming home because we don't always get to see everyone all in the same room unless we come to stay at the cities every year. So I first want to just discuss a little bit about the real estate market. Obviously, I have some great news to share with you, not only nationally, but as well as in our local market for residential and commercial real estate. One of the things that are going on currently within our real estate market here is that the supply and demand, if we have basic economics in our brains, we know that the limited amount of houses that are on the market compared to the buyers that are in the market causes a little bit of a challenge. And so obviously, not to put a little plug in for my local real estate agents, but if you're thinking about selling your home, call them. Because at the end of the day, we definitely are experiencing a demand shortage for homes. Got it? Perfect. All right, let's go through these real quick. So here's our 2019 residential sales in just Farmington. 131 homes were sold with 55 condos. And as you can see, the price point, based on just under $200,000, we're staying pretty steady over the past year and a half or 18 months in regards to the actual sales. Consumer confidence remains continually high in this area as well as across the nation. Now we know if we feel good about the value of our real estate, we in turn go into our markets and our communities and spend money. We visit stores more, we go to restaurants more, we travel more, and so we always want to make sure consumer confidence is high in the area. In Farmington Hills, we had 862 homes that have sold and 263 condos. And as you can see, going into January, we are a little bit low, just above 200,000. But on average, we'll see in the next 60 days that price begin to grow, because obviously we are a seasonal market. We've had a light winter, so people are still out there thinking about buying and are continuing to buy. Just to give you an example, I was out in the market this past weekend with a few buyers, and there was anywhere between 15 and 20 people at a home that I was actually showing, and it wasn't an open house. So that's a pretty good trend to know that the market continues to be very hardy. Commercial real estate obviously reporting a slower leasing activity into Q2. for commercial leasing. However, looking in Farmington and Farmington Hills, we don't see a lot of storefronts that are vacant, which is good. I know personally, being in the real estate market for 30 years, as well as, I had to make a decision about opening up some retail stores. I picked my hometown to open those retail stores. So with that being said, I believe in our community, and I know that as ambassadors in this room, we all believe in our community as well. So continue promoting that. Shows up on our commercial and our residential stats. Existing and new home sales combined. This is actually a really neat chart to look at because we do have a lot of new development in the area. A lot of the acreages we're tearing down over on 10 Mile in regards to the new construction going there. That continues to be a huge demand. As our inventory is low, new home sales will continue to increase. So with that being said, look around and see where there's opportunities for future growth and bring those opportunities to our local municipalities and our leaders, because that's where we can grow as a community to be able to continue to offer what we consider an affordable house for families moving into this area. Of course, I'm not a lender. I may look like one, I may sound like one, but I'm not. However, here's our federal funds rate and 30-year mortgage rate. If you guys haven't thought about refinancing, I'm telling you right now, the interest rates are the lowest they've ever been. And I'm going to show you a chart based on where we were at in 2009. Go ahead and flip that over. This is another one that shows the buyer traffic index for the entire United States. As you can see, we are in the buyer confidence market with the highest demand for residential real estate. Here's our 2000 versus 2019 comparison when I did the metrics. You can see very quickly the very top one, the housing affordability, we're ranking at the better, which means we continue to offer a good place for people to buy, to live, and to raise their families. And that isn't just because our housing is affordable. It's because everyone who's sitting in this room has a part in that. Our 30-year mortgage rate in 2019 was just over 4, and in 2000 was just over 8. Once again, if we can borrow money at a lower rate, people are going to make the decision to buy real estate. Our housing forecast, obviously they continue to tell us, and the economists in national trends say that we're on a moderate growth. So going back to the housing crisis, as much as we don't want to talk about it, that was a huge learning opportunity for all of us. And the biggest aha that I took out of that experience was, what is my personal responsibility in my community to make sure that we insulate ourselves from anything that potentially could happen to us? Because it isn't always just about a housing crisis that gives an opportunity for us to grow as a community. There are a lot of different opportunities out there for us individually to make a difference. And so, knowing everyone pretty much in this room, if I haven't met you, I'm surprised. I know that every one of us has been committed, but I ask you, what can you do that's a little bit different? Do you know the woman who walks in downtown Farmington every single morning with her walker for an hour and a half? Do you know who that person is? If you don't, find out who that person is. And it's not her specifically, because that person's throughout all of our communities. Find out who those people are, because if you take an active role in who is in our community and know what their story is, it's going to make a difference. And if we can raise and continue to insulate ourselves, we will always see a hearty community that people want to live here and they want to move here. If you see a firefighter, because our first responders program, I believe, is in the best in the state, thank them. See what we can do. See what we can do. See what I can do to let them know how much we appreciate everything that they do. Our government officials, these are all opportunities that are out there for us as community residents and community leaders to really make an impact in our community. I know that our nonprofits, we have a lot in this area because there is a need. People say, well, Farmington Hills, you guys have great house sales, you have great incomes, but we still have an issue in our community with people going hungry. If you haven't been to CARES just to volunteer in the food pantry, get there. And I know time is an issue. I get it. Write a check. $5. It doesn't have to be a big donation. Our churches are reaching out. Find ways that we can support. And at the end of today, what's going to insulate us in regards to real estate values, commercial and residential, is just making a commitment individually to do something a little bit better. Because if we do that all together, we will insulate ourselves, we will continue to grow, and we will continue to be proud to be here in Farmington and Farmington Hills as leaders and residents of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. We appreciate your continued support of the Chamber and community as a business owner and leader. I apologize, my laptop has just died. So kind of cut you short there by a few slides. Moving forward though, I would like to say a few things on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and our business community. So many of you probably don't know who I am. My name is Osborn, again, the director of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. I took the role back on to September 30th of 2019. Previously, I worked as the Development and Marketing Manager for Community Living Centers, or CLC, a local chamber member nonprofit organization. On my first day on the job there at CLC, they told me, you need to be a part of the chamber. We already have that relationship, kind of keep it going. I like to joke that I did too well of a job because it got me this job as the director of the chamber. It was crucial to be a part of the chamber for our success, and I continue leveraging the chamber as we were growing and getting more involved. I was able to make relationships with local business leaders, many of whom are in this room today. I have personally experienced how our chamber supports businesses and organizations in achieving their goals, and I look forward to continuing to grow to our current and future members, as well as the business community as a whole. I'm truly honored to stand up here alongside our mayors, our superintendent, Annette, Kevin Price. It's a dream of mine. Every year we put this event together with some of our most prominent community leaders into one place so you, our valued members of the communities, can hear directly from them about how our two cities are doing. The Chamber acts as a bridge for our business community to be able to interact with our city officials, our school district, public institutions, as well as other businesses. We provide you with the opportunities and resources to interact and hear from one another on a regular basis, to always be informed, to make changes, and collaborate to further improve our community. We bridge the gap between businesses large and small, for-profits and nonprofits, and industries of all kinds to connect with these key leaders in our cities as well as the public. Our Greater Farmington Area Chamber is here to be an asset, to connect and protect the interests of our community of businesses in our two cities. Our mission is to provide our members with powerful engagement and promotional platforms that empower them to connect with businesses and community partners alike and realize high-impact opportunities for growth. Throughout the year, we have numerous events that occur throughout the year that allow us to fulfill our mission. Today is one of those events. We also have our Bunkers and Bogies golf outing, our annual gala dinner, holidays, and of course, Founders Festival. I've just mentioned our signature events, but we also have numerous networking events, such as our morning coffee booths, our after-hours events, which there's actually one happening tomorrow night, if you're free, and our educational seminars and our ribbon cuttings and much more. We're here to celebrate with and support a brand new business, a business celebrating a milestone such as 50 years in operation, or a business expanding into new areas. Currently, between our two cities, we have over 5,000 businesses in our 35 square mile community. Thank you to the economic developer directors from each city for this information. Our primary industries include personal service, food and beverage, professional office, retail, convenience, scientific and technical services, healthcare and social services, manufacturing, administrative and support services. Some of our largest corporations include our premier sponsor, Beaumont Health, as well as Robert Bosch Corporation, the Nissan Technical, Hitachi, and also Farmington Public Schools, who are here today. At the Chamber, we are proud to have these businesses as part of our members. The Chamber is growing, and we look forward to you being a part of this growth. I myself am very excited for the future of our two cities with one shared business community. As always, we message that our community is #BetterTogether. Because we truly believe that the more we interact and work with one another, the more growth and success will come to this community. The proof of that is in this room. The sky is the limit. Thank you. So next, I'd like to invite Joe LaRussa up to introduce our mayor of the city of Farmington.
Good morning. So it's a high-pressure situation. You know, the opener sets the tone for the main act. And, you know, if Eminem hadn't already booked at the Oscars, you know, sorry, Sara, you would have had somebody a lot better doing the opener for you. But all kidding aside, I love this event. This is one more example about how our two cities come together through organizations like the Chamber. It's a great example of the collaboration that we have, and it really excites me every year to come and see so many engaged community members. But my honor this morning is to introduce the mayor of Farmington, Sara Bowman. Sara was born and raised in Farmington Hills and is a product of the Farmington Public Schools. Following 4 years of study in Manhattan, earning her degree at New York University, Sara returned to Michigan, settling in the city of Farmington. While living in the Village Mall apartments, she met John. They married and purchased their first home in Farmington in 1999. She and John have a 17-year-old son, Nate, who is scheduled to graduate from Farmington High School in June. Sara has a long history of volunteering in Farmington and sat on the Planning Commission from 2008 to 2015, chairing the committee for 3 years. She was elected to City Council in 2015 and re-elected for another 4-year term in November 2019, at which time she was appointed the mayor of Farmington. Sara's non-political accomplishments include completing over 30 half marathons, 20 marathons, 3 50-kilometer trail races, and most recently completing a 50-mile trail run last September. Don't run, she'll catch you. She's also been an endorsed motorcycle rider since she was 17 years old and has toured the Alps by motorcycle with her husband. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my high honor and privilege to introduce to you the Honorable Sara Bowman.
I need to small computer swap. I need it closer so I can push the buttons. Nah, I got it all figured out. One moment. All right. Good morning. Before we get started, I would like to just welcome and introduce some very important people to my family, as well as from the city. First of all, my parents, Charlie and Suzanne Paul, are here, very big activists in the city of Farmington, and my mentors. My husband, John, and are scheduled to graduate high school in June of 2020, is my son, Nate. From the city, you have had an opportunity to meet our Mayor Pro Tem, Joe LaRussa. Thank you so much. As well as council members in attendance today are Steve Schneeman and Maria Taylor. Our city manager, Dave Murphy, is also with us, Director of Public Safety, Frank Demers, and Deputy Director, Ted Worthman. Thank you for coming this morning. Mary Mullison, our city clerk. Melissa Andrade, the assistant to the city manager. Chris Weber, our treasurer. Amy Borgard, the controller. Todd Kraft from the DDA, our president, is with us this morning. Walt Gajewski from the Farmers Market. Chuck Udy, of course, from the Director of Public Services, Tom Schultz, our city attorney, as well as Beth Cirilla. These are important because a city of our size, to have this many people show up with us this morning, really speaks volumes about the engagement of not just our citizens, but of our staff. As you heard in my bio opening, I was on the Planning Commission for 8 years and chaired it for 3 years. Then a little over 4 years ago, after being elected to City Council, last November re-elected and then appointed mayor. So it is with no lack of personal experience that I announce to you today that the city of Farmington is good, very good. It is safe and it is sound. In fact, as far as I can see into the future, the next few years, our community will continue on that trajectory. During my allotted time today, I'm going to give you a snapshot of various services that combined have contributed to making Farmington in 2020 such a successful and positive place for our residents and businesses, and so attractive to our visitors. Pardon me. You can find more details and information about each of these departments and a lot more about our hometown on our website. Pardon me. Let's start with Public Safety Department under the professional guidance of Frank Demers. Compared with 2018, major crime was down 21%. In fact, the lowest number in public crime reported in department history. There were 0 robberies last year and just 2 home invasions, which is a historically low number. Sexual assault crimes were down 50%. Aggravated assault crimes were down 66%. Drug-related crimes decreased by 93%. As you can see, the statistics for fires in the city are also remarkably low. I want to call your attention to Sergeant Reggie Madeline, who was honored last February for his heroic and selfless actions and courage, rescuing a woman who was trapped on the 2nd floor of a house fire. Medical services provided last year included attending to the health needs of 909 persons. There were 2 naloxone administrations for overdose cases, the same number as 2018. And aid was provided to 79 injured persons. Farmington was named the 6th safest city by a trade association and was awarded 2 grants. One was for installing public surveillance cameras downtown to further enhance the safety and security of those who work, visit, and shop downtown. And the other was used to upgrade the efficiency of our jail facility. I'm pleased to report that the Public Safety Department is fully staffed with 23 sworn public safety officers, one of whom is assigned to the Oakland County Narcotics Enforcement Team. We also have 1 record supervisor, 15 reserve firefighters, 6 public safety cadets, and 1 parking enforcement officer. Our public safety officers continue to add community policing of activities in order to maintain strong partnerships with our residents. They include Stop the Bleed training, CPR training, tours for scouts and other groups, and a long list of additional outreach activities. Our Public Works Department, overseen by Superintendent Chuck Udy, along with his staff and equipment, have a huge responsibility for maintaining our city's infrastructure. They were challenged with a late fall record-breaking snow event during the leaf collection schedule and wound up working 21 straight days. Following the Thanksgiving weekend off, the crews returned to work 12 straight days to finish snow removal and leaf removal and setting up the ice rink on time for our school's winter break. We replaced key pieces of equipment last year, including the combination sewer cleaning truck called a Vector and a tractor backhoe. Both pieces of equipment have an 18-year replacement cycle. The old Vector was a 1995 model, the backhoe was a 1984 model, so you can see we got more than our money's worth, largely due to good maintenance procedures. Chris Weber, our Treasurer Finance Director, reports another successful audit this year. Our financial information is accurate and prepared in accordance with all rules and regulations. We had $18 million flow through our offices from property taxes last year, and we are in the process of distributing the allocated funds to our schools, library, and Oakland County. Farmington's real property values continued their 5-year growth trend, with residential values up in 2019 by 6%, both commercial and industrial values up 8%. Interestingly, the Treasurer's Office processed 3,046 transactions online in 2019, up 72% from 2018. Among other things, this shows that Farmington is keeping up with the technologies our residents rely upon. For example, we can now pay our water and sewer bill online. The past year, we completed the 5-year capital improvement plan voters approved for the city. Specific details of the capital improvement plan are readily available on the City of Farmington website. The largest accomplishment we completed last year was the bond refunding program. It is a significant achievement that our residents can appreciate. The debt refinancing process will save Farmington more than $1 million over the next 15 years. We'll be paying about $70,000 less in debt in debt service each year. That's about a 9% reduction in our debt. City Clerk Mary Mullison and her staff are preparing for 3 major elections in 2020, which will take up a lot of their time. Farmington has 2 election certified clerks. I'm happy to report that only 1 is legally required. Their principal goal is to make sure that the people of Farmington have their voices heard. Among the responsibility of the election certified clerks are ensuring that our voting processes and procedures are compliant with the new laws associated with Proposal 3 passed last year. The city clerk's office is responsible for distributing absentee ballots, having polling places set up for each election, and training polling place inspectors. There are also new equipment and new absentee ballot voter envelopes to be managed, and of course there are always paper ballots at the voting places. The office is wholly responsible to report votes to Oakland County, which then reports to the state. To help us achieve these goals, ensure the people of Farmington have their voices heard, the city clerk's office is extending voter registration events at the farmers market and our 2 high schools. The city clerk's office has registered around 420 businesses in Farmington, which is about the same number as the past few years. Also on the clerk's plate this year is the rollout of the census, which starts in March. People can respond to the questionnaire online, or they can respond to canvassers that come to their door. Critically, the clerk's staff is working cooperatively with Farmington Hills as part of a complete count committee to make sure that the census count is as complete as possible. According to Economic and Community Development Director Kevin Christensen, an update to the city's long-range master plan was completed in 2019 with a continuing focus on preservation, enhancement, and redevelopment. Significant upgrades were achieved in 2019 to existing housing, as well as new housing that is under construction. Work is underway on the 14 new single-family homes on Liberty Hill at the former 47th District Courthouse site located at 10 Mile and Farmington Road. Commercial redevelopment also continued in 2019 throughout all corners of the city, in addition to the downtown. From new tenants at the 10 Mile Shopping Center to the Orchard Trails Medical Center to Rolling Stoves Restaurant to the 9 Mile Gas Station to Freedom's Plaza opening and the Orchard Lake and Grand River, with many new tenants in existing commercial properties as well as new construction underway, we look forward to robust growth and continued investment in the city in 2020. One of the most exciting new developments is the purchase of the Farmington Savings Bank, State Savings Bank, which opened on March 18th of 1922. The GLP Financial Group bought the property and will soon be moving their corporate headquarters, which employs around 50 people, to the building after extensive restorations. The DDA, under the direction of Kate Knight, has been extraordinarily busy. I'm only going to touch on some highlights here, starting with the Oakland Street reconstruction. Note that among other benefits, the one-way street has added the benefit of many new parking places. More importantly, it provides walking access to the historic neighborhoods and surrounding areas. Watch for new lighting and landscaping coming soon. The DDA's Farmington Road streetscape plans are also progressing in partnership with the city. In the next couple of weeks, we should hear about a potential grant which will form the plan for this entire year. The Masonic Lodge is in the process of being reactivated for the first time in decades. And as we continue to partner with the city and on the acquisition of the Maxfield Training Center, we're doing our due diligence right now on that significant property. Riley Park and Sunquist Pavilion have proven an active draw for people of all generations. There was record attendance at Riley Park last year, highlighted with the Rhythms Riley Park series on Friday evenings. This year, you'll find a few new features to further enhance those benefits, the concerts. Also, lunch beats on Wednesday afternoons was a success, and we're hoping to grow that again in 2020. Winter skating events have tripled in attendance from previous years. The Harvest Festival continues to be a can't-miss event. Swing dancing draws a wide scope of happy people throughout the summer on Thursday evenings. The DDA is also enhancing our cultural programs throughout the greater Farmington area. The Heart the Art program is slated for February 22nd at the Legato Salon. It's an opportunity for the public to help direct our public art mission for new murals, sculptures, and other ideas. Check the DDA website for details. Now I'd like us to pause for just a minute, literally, to watch the Civic Theater mural being created on the building's south wall. Magic. We have a new tenant that's moving into the dress barn space. Five Below is a valuable addition in retail space that large at a time when many retail businesses are closing. Five Below currently has 750 stores in 33 states and focuses on children and teens. It adds to the blend of 100+ nationally and locally owned businesses and services shoppers can walk to in our downtown. The Governor Warner Mansion and Gardens have been under the direction of Mary Jean Shore, a volunteer extraordinaire, since June. This local treasure continues to be a community gathering spot for multiple scheduled events throughout the year. There are porch parties all summer, a flea market during Founders Festival, a spring spectacular fashion show, jazz and brass band concerts, book reviews, tea and talks, pages in the parlor, and ghost night is always fun for families. The Warnerettes entertain us at every parade, and the holiday tree lighting and caroling around the gazebo caps off the Holidays parade. The Holiday Splendor Tea is just plain old-fashioned fun. I look forward to it every year. These are among the many things to appreciate about the Warner Mansions and Gardens. But more than that, this property is a lovely piece of Americana that contributes to making Farmington the special city that it is. Finally, we have our enormously popular Farmington Farmers Market, home for the third consecutive year to the #1 rated farmers market in Metro Detroit as accorded by WDIV. The market is under the inspired direction of Walt Gajewski. In 2019, the Farmington Farmers Market celebrated its 26th year of community service, attracting a record average crowd of 2,366 people to downtown Farmington every Saturday. Rain or shine, just over 78,000 people came to experience what we call Saturday life in a Michigan small town. It is truly a public space for community gathering, outreach, and education. From free health screenings to colorful cooking demonstrations, from a community corn roast and a 5K run, the market is a vital and vibrant aspect for community life in Farmington. The market hosts upwards of 90 farmers, growers, foragers, and beekeepers from all over Southeast Michigan. They set up among a festive array of local artisans, hand builders, and area merchants. Working together with such local institutions as Beaumont and the Farmington Library, along with a long list of community service organizations, the market has become a natural resource for fresh, locally grown produce that forms a strong platform for fitness, wellness, and nutrition. Which brings us to what will be the highlight of our 2020 season. Sometime this summer, we will welcome our 1 millionth visitor. So it is with all of that standing as evidence, I am proud and pleased to repeat my opening remarks. The state of the city of Farmington in 2020 is good, safe, and sound. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So next, I would like to invite up Jeff Judson from Comcast Business to introduce the Mayor of Farmington Hills, Vicki Barnett.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I see you guys don't start just early. You guys start super early, but that's okay. My name is Jeffrey Judson. I'm with Comcast. I work with various communities, cities, and counties with expanding our network services with the main focus on development. Today, I have the honor and privilege to welcome a special guest, Mayor Vicki Barnett. Vicki was first elected to Farmington Hills City Council in 1995, served as mayor pro tem in 1998, was elected mayor in 2003, 2005, and again in 2019. Vicki was state representative from 2009 to 2014. Her past accomplishments include purchasing the Caustic Center, creating model after-school programs, expanding park system, world-class soccer fields, an 18-hole golf course, by the way, is great. Splash Pad and Culture Arts Program, was involved in forming the Citizen Corps Council for Emergency Preparedness, which teach residents how to care for themselves during crisis. Receiving a Homeland Security grant, she was able to install a low-power emergency radio station, hosting innovative environmental workshops, champion environmental sustainable natural landscaping, and the Gold Lead Certified Farmington Hills City Council. Requiring new developments to be compatible with surrounding neighborhoods, preventing oil and gas drilling in residential neighborhoods, and assisting in county officials in building a countywide public safety communications network. A resident of Farmington Hills since 1981, Vicki and her husband, Mark Stetloff, have 2 grown children. She received a master's degree in business administration from the University of Michigan, Dearborn, was president of Michigan Municipal League, board member of National League of Cities, and is involved in many communication organizations. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Mayor Vicki Barnett.
Wow, it's been 13 years since I did one of these. And early morning is getting even earlier these days. I'd like to first thank the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this year's State of the City's breakfast. I look forward to sharing with you some of the highlights of the past year in the city of Farmington Hills. But first, let me begin by thanking all of you for allowing me to be mayor once again. After many years of service to the city of Farmington Hills and 3 terms in the State House of Representatives, I can say with true certainty how fortunate we are to work with such an accomplished city council and administration. It's great to be back. We are represented by a group of dedicated people who not only work for the city of Farmington Hills, but give back to our community with their time and their talents. I'd like to thank the members of the City Council who are here today, so please stand. Mike Bridges, Jackie Bolaware, Valerie Knoll, Ken Massey, Mary Newland, and Samantha Steckloff. But just because you leave City Council doesn't mean you're still not involved, so we have today several former council members. Barry Brickner, former mayor, former council member Randy Bruce, and former council member Teresa Rich. Because of you, you make my job very easy to be mayor. And I'd like to also thank our city staff who is present today. City Manager Dave Boyer, please stand. Assistant City Manager Gary Metchin. Police Chief Jeff King, who is, Jeff, are you here? He's standing. Fire Chief John Unruh, who could not be here today, and his Deputy Chief Jason Olszewski was here, but I guess they got a call because they took off a few minutes ago. City Clerk Pam Smith, Central Services Director Kelly Monaco, Human Resources Director John Randall. You guys aren't standing. You made me stand earlier. Economic Development Director Samantha Seimer, Planning and Community Development Director Ed Gardner, Public Services Director Karen Mondora, and Special Services Director Ellen Schnenkel, who's represented here today with Brian Farmer, our Deputy Director of Special Services. Okay, they're making me work for it today. I'd like to start with our greatest accomplishment in 2019, the Hawk. I know, I don't like the name either, but in 2019, we began planning and design phase for repurposing Harrison High School into the Farmington Hills Community Center. During several community sessions, we received valuable input from residents, and we met with designers and architects who helped give the city direction on how to best meet the future needs of our community. The groundbreaking took place this past September, and the demolition process is well underway. Occupancy is targeted for this fall, and when completed, our new 245,000 square foot community center, along with its 45-acre park, will provide a hub for residents and guests of all ages, all interests and abilities to enjoy drama, music, the visual and performing arts, aquatics, athletics, fitness and wellness, along with many other programs, classes, camps, and events. The Hawk represents our commitment to physical and emotional education and the well-being of every resident, visitor, and business who comes to our city. This project underscores that commitment of renewal and answers the needs of our growing community. The first and second floors will be entirely dedicated to fitness, gathering spaces, and the arts. And there will be a fitness center, a dance studio, a gym, a pool, and a performing arts center. All state-of-the-art, all available year-round, and all to benefit our families. It's going to be a really fun place, and I hope you get to see it as soon as it opens. One of the best things about our city, though, is one of the reasons why families want to move here to raise their children. It's how safe we are. Thanks to our exemplary police department, Farmington Hills consistently ranks as one of the top safest cities in Michigan and in the nation. In fact, SafeWise, an online safety solutions company, named Farmington Hills as the 22nd safest city in the United States in which to raise a child. In 2019, Farmington Hills once again experienced a historic drop in crime. The 20 most serious categories of crime, called Part A crimes, continued to decline again this year, with an overall decrease of 11%. This total Part A crime rate represents the lowest number in our city's 46-year history. Robbery declined 22%, sexual assaults declined 18%, and the average violent crime rate across the country is 4.49 crimes per 1,000 individuals. In Farmington Hills, it barely reaches 1 per 1,000 individuals. So I want to take a moment to applaud Police Chief Chuck Nebus, who retired in January after 40 years with the city of Farmington Hills, 10 of those serving as chief, and a few of them on loan to the city of Farmington. And we welcome a man who is going to help keep us safe. And at the top of the Safe City rankings, our new police chief, Jeff King. During Jeff's 24 years with the Farmington Hills Police Department, he implemented department-wide training focusing on fair and impartial policing practices. He has overseen advances in technology and also coordinated with Oakland County Homeland Security and training events. He's also helped develop recruitment initiatives that will serve us well as we hire new police officers in the future. And of course, I have to mention Dozer. Dozer is our department canine who receives the most hits of anybody on our Facebook page. Dozer and his partner, Officer Ryan Ute, are a team both at work and at home, but at home, Dozer defers to the family cat. In his job as canine officer, Dozer was utilized 165 times in the past year for building inspections, tracking, narcotics detentions, school demonstrations, and more. Dozer, while lovable, is also a very successful police officer. He helped us locate a missing child after actively tracking the child's scent and leading officers to it. He's also assisted the DEA task force in searching for hidden narcotics and finding a shoebox containing over 497 grams of heroin. I know, get that dog a treat. Another important factor in our safety and high quality of life is the progressive and innovation leadership represented by our fire department. In 2019, the men and women of the Farmington Hills Department of Fire responded to a historic high of 10,383 calls for service. That represents a 9% increase over last year. And just think about that number for a moment. Each call for service meant that a resident's life was touched by the professionalism and the compassion of our fire department. In 2019, the fire department responded to the highest number of incidents in the last 10 years, and 4 new firefighters were hired to carry the load and to bolster staffing levels in response to that increased run volume. While the fire department obviously responds to fires, hazardous conditions, and other types of calls, it is increasingly relying on the fact that most of those calls are for emergency medical services, and so our fire department is extremely well trained in advanced life support. If you have a medical emergency, you should be grateful that the survival rate of a cardiac arrest patient in the city of Farmington Hills due to our firefighters and paramedics means that you will far exceed the national average. It means critically ill patients have a chance to walk out of our hospitals because of the members of our fire department. And the fire department also undertook a very important task last year, smoke alarm blitz. And that was a large-scale campaign to get smoke detectors installed throughout our community. The fire department team alone installed 749 smoke alarms and 104 carbon monoxide testing kits to homes in the areas that needed them in the city. You'll see a photo go by of the fire department's Team Avengers. This team of firefighters shared vital safety information to public schools and through fall assemblies. Between visits to schools, the fire station tours, and the citywide open house, over 22,400 individuals were given a fire prevention message. But one family in particular benefited greatly this year, and that was when a young boy took home the basic fire safety handouts that were given to him in an assembly at an elementary school. He handed them to his mother, and unfortunately, not long after that, they experienced a fire in their apartment. That mother said she would not have known how to rescue her kids safely from that burning fire if she had not been given those handouts. So, just want you to understand that our police department and fire department have a great impact on our community. And should you see one of our first responders, don't hesitate to say hello. And let's face it, none of this would be possible without a strong financial footing. And so year after year, we spend our city resources wisely, and we balance our budget. Our city financial record doesn't go unnoticed, however. For 36 years in a row now, we have received the Distinguished Budget Award given by the Government Finance Officers Association. Farmington Hills maintains an excellent bond rating, AAA, and we look forward to keeping that bond rating up as the years move on. I want to also add that our retirement system is fully funded, an accomplishment not shared by many communities of our size. And so through economic development and planning, I want you to know that new families will be attracted to our community with several new housing developments underway. 44 new single-family homes will be built in a subdivision on the northeast corner of 10 Mile and Orchard Lake Roads. A 10-home subdivision is being planned at the former Kendallwood Swim Club. I wanted to buy it for a family compound, but the developer got there first. And there will be 19 homes built on Farmington Road between Stocker and Colfax. An additional 32 townhomes are being built right now at the southeast corner of Eldon and Middle Belt Roads. Our city has experienced healthy growth in business sector as well as the residential sector in the past year, and we look forward to several exciting projects in 2020. Nissan recently announced a $40 million expansion for a new on-site crash test facility. That will create 25 highly skilled engineering jobs and will retain an additional 60 jobs in our community. To date, Nissan has invested over $270 million in the city of Farmington Hills. Mercedes-Benz Financial Services announced its relocation this year to the 35-acre site formerly known as Soccer at the corner of 12 Mile and Drake. The building will be approximately 200,000 square feet, and as a result of the move, over 1,100 jobs will be retained in the city. The Carmanis Cancer Institute on Northwestern Highway has had site plans approved for a 36,000 square foot addition. The Lawrence and Idell Weisberg Cancer Treatment Center will provide cutting-edge treatment for our citizens who have been diagnosed with cancer. And of course, with all this growth comes infrastructure needs. After the 2018 election for an adoption of a city charter amendment to increase our road funding, the local road millage was a crucial part of the city's goal to maintain our infrastructure and transition away from the quite contentious special assessment district process we had been using before. The millage provides funds for local roads to improve their overall condition of neighborhoods, and it positively impacts the character of our community. Improved local road conditions help attract families, retain businesses, sustain residential and commercial property values, and preserve the city's high quality of life. And while you may not appreciate the orange barrels while you're driving through them, I know you'll appreciate the smooth roads when they're removed. And the recent major roads projects have included the resurfacing of Power Road from 10 Mile to 11, Halsted Road from I-696 to 12 Mile, 9 Mile Road from Hawthorne to Middle Belt, and Halsted Road from Grand River to 11 Mile. And several local road projects have significantly improved roads in our subdivisions and neighborhoods. Pleasant Valley Farms, Bridgman Street, Greening Street, Sunnydale and Lundy, Omenwood, Hemlock, Geraldine, Medbury, and the Flemings, Roseland, and Farmington Acre subdivisions. We purchased new trucks and equipment and have been very busy replacing water mains and sewers and sidewalks. And while this may not be what you think of first when you think of a safe city or when you think of moving to a community, I can assure you that the work of these professionals in our Public Services Department significantly impacts your quality of life. And now the Special Services Department. We call that the fun department, the Department of Fun, because they are increasing their role in the city of Farmington Hills, but they are responsible for our parks and our cultural arts programs. The members of the Special Services Department are not only busy with their regular classes, programs, and events, but their staff is working hard overseeing the transformation of Harrison High School into the Hawk. From design and demolition to creating a destination that will help bring residents and new families to our community. But don't wait for the Hawk to be done. Take advantage of what we have now. Head over and see the animals at our nature center. Take a music class at the Longacre House. Bring out your creative side through an art class at our Stables studio. There are so many things to do and partake in. And it doesn't matter what season it is, what your age is, or what your interests are, or your ability levels. We welcome you to have fun doing the things that you want to do, to expand and advance your horizons. Whether you enjoy me time by taking a solo hike in Heritage Park, or whether you are a joiner and want to be involved in a club or group activity, I challenge you to find a city that has anywhere near the amount of offerings that we have for children and families alike. Now let me impress upon you with some of the statistics of the Special Services Department about how many people they served last year. Our summer camps hosted over 3,700 campers. Heyday, the Marshmallow Fly and Fry, the Splash Bash had over 1,000 participants. Over 42,000 rounds of golf were played at our golf club. The city's after-school youth centers have over 430 active participants. Our Mayor's Youth Council is committed to spending hours volunteering for our city. Over 500 hours have been donated with their time. 267 lifeguards were trained and certified in our lifeguard training program, which, by the way, received top honors from the American Red Cross for the second consecutive year. At the ice arena, Learn to Skate program served over 800 participants. For our homebound seniors, more than 110,000 Meals on Wheels were delivered. And let's not forget our animals. We have over 450 dogs who are registered at the William Grace Dog Park, including my own Molly. We are very fortunate in Farmington Hills to be one of only 2 cities in the state of Michigan to have a dedicated cultural arts program. It's not in here, but I will tell you that the other city is Marquette, Michigan. This division had some progressive statistics of their own, including 4,000 people who attended the Stars in the Park concerts and over 400 youth participants in our youth theater productions. I could go on. I love this city, and we have impressive statistics, but you get the idea. And it's not only a remarkable city because of these programs, events, and accomplishments. It's because of the great people who live and work here. In addition to being remarkable for what they do, it's a remarkable city for who we are. Farmington Hills is a welcoming community, a city where we take pride in coming from different backgrounds. We celebrate our diversity, and we come together to listen to music, take an art class, voice our opinion at a city council meeting, and take a walk in our safe neighborhoods. We value all that Farmington Hills has to offer, and we value each other, and it shows in how we conduct ourselves in this city. There is a quote that says, "The value of a life is not in how long we live, but in how much we contribute to others in our society." So I want to thank you for letting me contribute to Farmington Hills by being your mayor. Thank you for listening and letting me share with you how truly great and safe the city of Farmington Hills truly is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Barnett. Moving forward, I would like to invite Emily Karlichek from Paulson's Audio and Video to come up and introduce the Farmington Public Schools, Dr. Robert Herrera.
Yeah, people must have been looking at the program. Everybody darts as soon as they see my name come up. Good morning, everyone. This morning I have the honor of introducing to you the Superintendent of Farmington Public Schools, Dr. Robert Herrera. My name is Emily Karlichek. I'm the Director of Marketing and Outreach for Paulson's Audio and Video, and I'm grateful to serve on the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. On behalf of the board, thank you all for being here with us this morning and showing your commitment to our shared community. Dr. Herrera became the superintendent of our Farmington Public Schools in July of last year. As an experienced leader with an impressive track record, he has served the students and families of his communities, hi Connor, in the roles of teacher, assistant principal, director of instruction, transformation specialist, assistant superintendent, and superintendent over the past 33 years. One of Dr. Herrera's most unique and noteworthy accomplishments in education was serving as a transformation specialist. In this role, he secured a $3.7 million grant and within 2 years moved his high school, which was in the bottom 5% of schools, into the 91st percentile. As a result, the school he was with was rated one of the top 5 growth schools in the state of Michigan. Experiences such as this demonstrate his spirit for innovation, dedication to accountability, and faith in the collaborative process, all of which are actions and attitudes reflected by the culture of Farmington Public Schools. As a proud product of public schools myself, I believe in the power of our public education system because of people like Dr. Herrera. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Herrera last year shortly after he joined our school district and our community. As he was heading into his first year of leadership with our school district, I was heading into my first year of being a Farmington Public Schools parent. My kindergartner started last fall. I am not a Farmington area native, like him, but the schools, the local government, the businesses, and the community have brought us both here to this area. My husband and I chose the greater Farmington area to be our home, the community where we would raise our growing family, plant roots, and watch our children grow and flourish. Dr. Herrera and his family have shown the same trust and hope in our community by joining it. As a parent of Farmington Public School student, I can say with confidence that I see a bright future for my 2 sons and all the school's children, as well as our shared community as Dr. Herrera takes the helm. I know that Farmington Public Schools will continue to model civility, foster creativity, live inclusion, and invest in strategic growth under his direction. The mission of our school district is to, together with the community, engage every student in a quality experience, empowering each student to become a thoughtful, contributing citizen in a changing world. Dr. Herrera's alignment to the culture of our district and to our cities is evident in his experience, his actions, and his attitude, and we look forward to his continued success in partnership with all members of our community. At the Chamber, we often use the phrase better together to talk about our 2 cities living and succeeding as one community. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm sure most of us would agree with that. With 2 villages raising our children, I'm sure most of us would look to the future and see that it is a light with hope and promise. We know that our local government, business leaders, nonprofit organizations, public institutions, and schools truly are better together, and I am confident that Dr. Herrera's leadership will continue to elevate our shared community, guided by the spirit of collaboration that we live and breathe every day at the Chamber. And now it's my pleasure and privilege, of course, to introduce to you the Superintendent of Farmington Public Schools, Dr. Robert Herrera.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Emily. First, I'd like to recognize the team from the district. We have Mrs. Angie Smith on the Board of Education, Mrs. Terry Weems, Mr. Zach Rich, and Mr. Terry Johnson had to excuse himself just prior to my speech. So, I would also like to recognize Diane Bowman, our Director of Communications. I think most everybody here knows her. I'm sure I'll get good feedback from Diane on the message I send today. To begin with, I would like to thank the community and the Board of Education for the opportunity to serve as superintendent of the schools. Over the past 7 months, it's been great to get out and get to know the community. As you very well know, the school community has very much to offer. Having so many resources and opportunities for our students enhances our ability to work with the children and get them to a higher level. So I'm very much looking forward to engaging with the community over the next semester. That's school language, I guess, throughout the spring in your language, and then begin to move forward and talk about the direction that the district will head in the very near future. To begin this presentation, though, I'd just like to begin with some fast facts. One disclaimer, there's way too much information on the PowerPoint for me to cover, but I would like to make it accessible. If there's anything that I talk about today, you can refer to the PowerPoint and dig in it a little deeper. And if you need any clarification to some of the comments I make today, please feel free to contact me or Diane, and we'll follow up with you. Just in terms of the quick facts or the fast facts of the state of the district, we know we function by our budget, and we are on a foundation allowance per student. But in the bigger picture, when we look at our funding, the key pieces there is the revenues we receive from the Department of Ed per pupil. 85% of that funding is targeted towards classroom or direct services, so it goes in salary and wages of our staff. So that leaves very little of our operating expenses to support infrastructure and other areas of supports for the school. So that's what is the difficult part with the way schools are funded in Michigan. We receive very little funding for infrastructure expenses. 85% of it typically goes towards the classroom functioning. Our total pupil count, and this is a common conversation with school districts and their communities, we are seeing declining enrollment, and that's due to 2 factors. One is lower birth rates in the county. We bring in less students, so our class sizes at the elementary and middle school are lower than our class sizes at the secondary or high schools. We currently serve, we offer 8 elementary school programs. We serve about 3,600 students. Our middle school programs, as you can see, about 1,800 students. We have 1 K-8 programming that serves just a little over 700 students. And then our high schools combined, we're just a little over 2,900 students. Special services are center-based programming and programming offered by Oakland ISD, and that serves approximately 100 students. So total, we have 9,200 students. What we anticipate over the next couple of years would be a decline in student enrollment between 100 and 150 over the next couple of years, and then we would anticipate our enrollment stabilizing. Stabilizing our enrollment certainly helps us with our financial stability, because our revenues will finally match our expenditures, and we won't be in a situation where we're trying to right-size the district to offset decreasing revenues. Our Early Childhood Center is one of the areas that we're currently have an opportunity to increase, and as you can imagine, the more younger students we can get into our programming, the earlier we can capture those students and families, the better chance we have of retaining them through the school system. So as a business model, investing in early childhood is a very good idea. Our total number of overall staff in the district equals a little over 1,200, and we have just a little under 700 teachers serving the district. Quick facts, and this was, I have a little bit of disclaimer for you as you see schools report out their graduation rate. Our graduation rate is 94%, and that includes all 3 high schools. One of the things we have an opportunity to report based on our state, depending on what reporting site you look at, is districts may have to report out their 4-year cohort, their 5-year cohort, or their 6-year cohort. So this is our 4-year cohort. Naturally, our 5-year and 6-year cohorts would be higher in terms of their graduation rates, but we currently have a 94% graduation rate. In terms of programming that I think the community is fairly aware of is the district has made a commitment to the International Baccalaureate program. At the high school, it's the IB Diploma program. There's a middle years program now, and then we also have an elementary or PYP program. And then we just approved a program for CTE, or career related. And so we do have some more rigorous programming offered that is more global minded for students who would like to take that path. Our teaching staff, and I think this is important to note for us as I talk about where the district will be headed, 83.7% of our staff have master's degrees, so we have a very qualified teaching staff, which is truly a gift, especially from my perspective. We have just under 4% with bachelor's degrees, about 0.5% with doctorate degrees, and then about 4% with ed specialist degrees. So we have a very qualified staff to work with. Our career and technical education, we were looking at ways to expand that. We have we have the largest CTE program in the county, and we're looking right now on how to partner with some of our community colleges so we can give those students more early or middle college opportunities in the very near future. AP and dual enrollment is another basically early college opportunity for our students. We had 750 students took advanced placement or early college classes at one of the junior colleges, and that allows them to actually begin their college career while in high school. According to the state, our state legislation allows students to take up to 10 college courses while they're in high school, and the district would pick up the tab on that. So we are looking at ways to expand those early college experiences for our students. Data snapshot regarding our achievement. This is, again, one of the key things communities like to keep track of, and this is based on our standardized test scores. If you look across the board, how we have the information presented is we have just the subject areas that our students are tested in. We have the district's percent proficiencies, we have the county percent proficiency, and then we have the state's percent proficiency. As you can see across the board, we typically rank, we have a higher percent proficiency than the average, or the county and the state averages. However, we also included the county rank. This seems to be something that we've had a lot of discussions with our Board of Education in terms of how we're progressing as a district. We do rank, out of 28 local LEAs in the county, we rank right about in the middle of those schools within the county in terms of top to bottom ranking. So one of the things I would like to take advantage of this morning, and not to get too far off topic, is rather than reflecting on where the district's been over the past years, I'd like to take this opportunity, since I'm new, to talk about where we may be headed in the very near future. So some of the questions I've been asking our staff and conducting some fact finding around is, How are we preparing our next generation students, knowing that students come from a very diverse backgrounds in our community? Can we effectively ensure all student success with our current one-size-fits-all model? Our schools are still based on a 1960-70 industrial model with this one-size-fits-all. And I know we talk a lot, if you were to walk into classrooms still from the time we went to school, they still look very familiar and almost like what we experienced. We need to take a look at more innovation in our schools because we know our students are going to need different skills as they move into college or career in their adult lives. How can we meet each student's individual learning and personalized needs and also assure high academic growth? So this is something we'll talk to the community about in terms of how can we personalize our instruction for all students so that not only our below benchmark students can make adequate yearly gains, but how are we continuing to challenge our higher achieving students so we're getting the same growth from our high achieving students. So that's more along the line of mass customization or personalized learning. So that's something we're going to talk to the community about. Factors that we need to consider. If we really want to take a look at where education's heading and how we're going to best prepare our students for jobs that we don't know that what their jobs are going to look like or what their lives are going to look like, there are 5 driving forces out there, drivers of change, that we will begin to talk about as a district and determine how we can provide educational environments that support students considering those drivers of change. One is automating choices. We know machine intelligence is that's going to grow exponentially over the next 10 years for our students. Civic superpowers, what does that mean, and how are civic superpowers going to impact our children as they become adults? And how will that impact our ability to educate them, or the ways that we should educate them? Accelerating brains. Our students are exposed to things through social media. They have access to 24/7 learning through the internet and the web and other resources. They learn in intended ways and unintended ways. So how can we best prepare them for their learning experiences? They become self-directed learners and lifelong learners. Toxic narratives. We know that we're seeing an increase in mental health issues with our students these days. So how is social media and how are these toxic narratives impacting our students? How do they know when they're filtering all this information and what to believe, what not to believe, and how to read through it and how to find original sources to determine and how will they make decisions that will impact their lives? And last but not least, we know that we continue to remake geographies. We know the world continues to get flatter, and with all the globalization, how will our students really find their way and what jobs and what skill sets, will be these global market skill sets that they'll need to be successful in their adult lives. All those things should be addressed through our educational system. And so we're going to take a look at how those driving factors are going to change the lives of our students, and then we're going to try to work on building educational programming and learning environments that would help build those characteristics and attributes in our students. So that will be how we begin our strategic process overview, our strategic process. So a quick overview of this is, starting in the district, if we're going to move more towards a culture of innovation and seeking out new and possibly better ways to educate our students, we need to work by laying the foundation. School districts in the past have functioned on lagging indicators, so we always seem to be looking at more first order change. In other words, we look at just ways to become more efficient at what we're currently doing, and we know what we're currently doing isn't working. We've known that for 20 years. So how do we actually move forward and become more innovative and take some risks to see how that works with our students? So trying to build a foundation so we can move through that intentionally and not chaotically is going to be very important. So we're going to begin laying our foundation this year. We're going to initiate district-wide efforts to create a solid base to support a transformational plan. So not so much transactional anymore. We're going to look at reinventing our schools and reimagining our schools and what our classrooms would look like and how we can serve students. Year 2, we're going to build on that foundation. So how do we actually get in and create these more student-centered learning environments? And then year 3, the big piece is how will we sustain that? And how can we sustain those initiatives towards innovation? And that's going to be more of a systems-wide approach. We have to build capacity, leadership capacity. We have to build our technical knowledge, and we have to make sure that we have system alignments in place so that we can continue to focus on innovation and moving the district forward. One of the first activities in this that I'm looking forward to, because it'll be my first opportunity to engage with the school community, and hopefully members or some of you in this room, is we develop this shared vision. This shared vision will be what we consider a portrait of a lifelong learner. So we'll take a look at those driving forces or those driving factors of change, and we'll talk about, like the community, actually this will be co-designed with the community, we'll talk about what it really means, or what skills and attributes should we be developing in our students? What outcomes would you like to see our students walking across that stage as they graduate? And so that is, the vision is what's typically developed in schools by boards of education and school communities. We, as an educator, we put the programming together for those results or for those outcomes. But this needs to be something that's a true engagement or very intentionally engaged with the school community to develop this portrait of the lifelong learner. So again, this is a collective vision that articulates the community's aspirations for our students. And then the second step for that is for us to choose a strategic direction for the redesign of the overall educational experience for our students, and that would lie on the educators. So again, don't be surprised if we ask you for an invitation to sit at the table and help us co-design what we hope to be our new vision for our students. The year one continued is we'll begin working to build our leadership capacity. So old leadership competencies or more traditional leadership competencies don't necessarily guarantee a success in a reform or a transformational change. So we need to retool our administrators. We need to think, we need to begin thinking differently about how we lead and how we administer and how we manage the school district. So we're going to go through an 8-day training this spring with about 125 teachers, administrators, and central office staff and instructional support staff to talk about what competencies that we need to actually be able to effectively lead an innovation or more innovative reform in the district. So that will actually improve our sustainability. And we're beginning this process by reading a book read on what schools could be. So in other words, it doesn't tell us what our schools should look like. It's more of an exploration of what we need to quit doing in public education because it hasn't worked, and then talk about what we could be doing. So it's a great book. If you would like a copy of the book, please contact us, and I'd be happy to provide you with a copy. Year two, that's when, now that we have our vision, at the beginning of next year, we'll do a needs assessment. So one of the things, just based on my fact finding of the district is, and I've gotten feedback on, is we need a vision for the district. So certainly the portrait of a lifelong learner will give us that vision. So that will be taken care of. But we also need to work on our culture. We're going to need to move towards this culture of innovation and being more student-centered than this one-size-fits-all model. So that's another area we'll be focused on. The other key area is transparency. How do we become more transparent? How do we report back to our community our progress in terms of our student profile and how we're impacting students and growing them to meet those measurable outcomes? So that's something we're going to work on as well. And then the fourth bullet is just the technical piece of what we do as schools. We know we need to take a look at curriculum, instruction, assessment, our learning environments, student supports. Student supports, by the way, are those social, emotional, and behavioral supports for students that will allow them to have more success in schools. How we conduct professional development may need to change. We may need to move away from the sit and get type of PD to more job-embedded PD. We also need to take a look at our leadership development. Technology integration is another key. We know we need to move to more digital learning environments rather than just all teacher-focused or teacher-centered learning environments. How are we collecting data? And then what is our relationship with the community and our community partnerships? So those we'll have an audit, and we'll be conducting our needs assessment in those areas, and then we'll build our plan to move forward on each one of those 10 factors. But we'll also be focused on transparency and still building this culture of innovation and making sure we're committed to our vision. The last piece on this would be probably around second semester next year. We'll actually begin to implement some of the strategies and implement some of the strategies to adjust those 10 factors and begin to implement some of the strategies from that we'll learn to help produce the type of learners that we've identified in our portrait of our lifelong learner. So as you can see, over the next year and a half, we'll be very much engaged in more of a transformational plan with the district, and hopefully much more engaged with the community, at least since I've been here, to talk about what we want out of our schools and what we want for our students within our schools. That was quick. So if I do have 5 minutes, because I am new to the community, if you have just any questions regarding this information, or any questions for me regarding the district, I would be more than happy to answer those. I don't want to break away from the format completely, but it is my first real opportunity. I'd like to take advantage of the opportunity that you're here to gain your perception or comments on the district. Okay? If you have none, I'm not gonna press you on it. But always feel free to contact myself or Diane. We're the easiest entry points to answer your questions. And I would like to thank you for your time, and I look forward to engaging in some of the information I just covered over the next few months. Thank you.
So with that, we are actually very ahead of schedule. I think this is the first time in a couple years that we're going to end on time, and I don't know if it's because the sun's out or what it is today. It might be all the new voices that spoke, but the rest of the time is yours. Again, I want to say thank you to all our sponsors: Beaumont Health, Comcast Business, Paulson's Audio and Video, Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union, Lake Michigan Credit Union, Community Choice Credit Union, and Raymond. Thank you again for making an event such as this possible. Thank you to Mayor Sara Bowman. Thank you to Mayor Vicki Barnett. Thank you to Dr. Robert Herrera for speaking today. I hope you all learned more about our cities and where we're moving into the future. So thank you again, and have a wonderful day.